Look at them. Well, guys.
Hi guys, today I am making corned beef and cabbage for my husband who is Irish, and St. Patty's Day. I usually make it for him for St. Patty's Day, but I didn't get a chance to from work and everything, but I'm making it now, and I decided, well, actually he asked me about posting a video of making corned beef and cabbage. So I've already started the first step, which is to take a 3-pound flat cut piece of corned beef. You put it in a roasting pan and you cook it in the oven for 3 hours, covered with foil. Next step is to take a bag of carrots, cut into 2-inch pieces, skinned if you want. If you do, you don't have to. I skin them because he likes them skinned, but I don't have a problem with leaving the skins on them either. Cut into 2-inch pieces and sliced in half, placed in the bottom of a pot with red potatoes, also sliced, not really sliced, but cut in halves or quarters, on top of the carrots, and then wedges of your cabbage placed on top of that. And you're going to parboil them, which is to not cook them completely, but you boil them a little bit just to get them started before you bake them in the oven with your corned beef. So my corned beef has already been in the oven almost 3 hours. I have 20 minutes left before I take that out. But you want to start your vegetables before that's done, so that you can, when you take it out, you can go ahead and put your vegetables underneath where the corned beef was, so that the juices can cook into them when you put the corned beef in the oven. And you put the corned beef back on top, I think for another hour, but I'll tell you for sure when I get to that step. So the carrots are done. Actually, my husband cut up half the carrots while I was getting ready. So here they are. Let's see if I can get my... You guys got to forgive my recording. I cannot find my digital camera, so I'm back to using my laptop until I find my digital camera. But you can see I have on the bottom 2-inch pieces of carrots. And what I like to use are red potatoes. So I got like a bag full of these. It's probably about 12 of them. You can use more of that. It's up to you. I just kind of cut it and put it in the pot until I feel like I got enough. I got 2 heads of cabbage. Not sure if I'm going to use both of them, but I'm going to cut it up and just see how much I need. So basically I need to chop up those, the cabbage and the red potatoes. So I'm going to do the red potatoes next because that's what the recipe calls for. So I'm going to cut them long ways, and then I'm going to cut them sideways. So I'll leave them like this. You can cut them in fourths or cut the wedges in half if you want, but I like them to be a little bit bigger pieces. So I'm going to leave them like that and then set them to the side, and I'll put them in the pot. So I'm going to cut all those up. I always cut little ugly pieces off that look like that. It's a pet peeve. Some people will cook them like that. I cut them off. I don't like the way they look, so I don't even want them in the pot with the rest of my potatoes. I got 2 more potatoes left, and then I can cut the cabbage. All right. Okay, so what you're going to do is the carrots you're going to let boil for a few minutes by themselves. Then you're going to put the potatoes in on top of that. Let them boil for a little while. A few minutes. You're partially boiling this so that when you put them in the oven and they cook for the last leg without having the water, that they'll be done and they won't be mushy. So then you put your cabbage on. You know, cabbage doesn't take that long to cook even when you cook it on the stove. So put the cabbage on and you let that boil for a little while. Then you take that stuff off the boil and you pull your corned beef out of the pan. Then you put your vegetables on the bottom of the baking tray that you had your corned beef in. Then you're going to put your corned beef on top and we're going to put it back in the oven for an hour. So I'll show you that step after the 3 steps in boiling. I just started my carrots, so I'm going to get the vegetables boiled first before I move on to the next step, and then I'll go back to show you that step when we get there. Cutting up this cabbage so you guys can see I cut them in half first, and then I'll cut it into a giant wedge, and then I can separate it. I'm going to wash this after it's cut. And I got my water going already. Wash it. A little bit darker from this angle, which is why I'm recording with the natural light in my back because you can see better. But so that's how you cut the cabbage, and I'm still waiting for my water to start boiling with the carrots, but I just wanted you to see how I cut the carrots, just so you can, not the carrots, how I cut the cabbage into wedges. Very easy to cut, and wash it and just kind of you separate it. Of course, it's probably going to go on, well, it is going to go on top also when I start cooking the vegetables underneath the corned beef. 2 minutes left till the 3-minute timer is up, so I'm just going to check the meat right now. See how tender it is. Check the meat. You take a fork and test it to see if it's just about ready to fall apart with the fork, which, see how easy that's coming apart. It's very tender. So that's done enough with the fork after the 3 hours. If it's not just about falling apart with the fork, then you want to put it in the oven for another 20 minutes. But I don't need another 20 minutes because it's falling apart. So we're ready to get our vegetables put in, but we're going to leave it because the vegetables, the veggies aren't ready yet. So I'm not going to put the veggies in. I'm still boiling them on the stove, so I'm waiting for the carrots to get boiling good. But the next step is ready. So as soon as the veggies are done, then I'll put them on top, and then we'll get to the last step of putting everything together and throwing it in the oven. Alright guys, now I am layering or putting my vegetables on the bottom of the tray. I've already steamed the carrots, I've steamed the potatoes and the cabbage. So now I'm putting it on the bottom. If needed, add like another half cup of water just to bring the vegetables up to half covered by the juices. Use the broth from boiling the vegetables to do this. That was my boil timer. I didn't let the cabbage boil quite as long just because cabbage cooks so fast easily anyway. I'm just going to pour a little bit of this broth in. Ooh, what's that? A little bit of broth from the vegetables in the water to give us some volume. And just want to separate my cabbage into here. Again, cabbage always cooks down as it cooks, so I didn't let this boil too much because I don't want the cabbage to get soggy. So I just put that cabbage in there. As much as you can fit, guys. I'm going to just put this in here. Take it apart. Oh, that one's hotter. Take it apart. After you get these all taken apart, you're going to put your corned beef on top. And of course, it's going to sink down. Get rid of that piece there. I don't want the hard pieces, the big, you know, the bottom of it in, because that's why I can't separate it. There we go. But just separate it. Just separate it. All right. And last, I'll put my corned beef, just stuff that on the top there. Now this last step is just to cook the vegetables. Get the vegetables cooked good. So once the vegetables are done in the oven, once they're done in the oven, then what you want to do is take the foil off and cook it for about another half hour on, raise the temperature. The temperature that it's currently cooking at is 250, like since the beginning. But for the last half hour, you want to raise the temperature to 350 so that your corned beef will get a crisp on top. And then it's done. So I'll come back when that step is done so you can see what the finished product looks like. Okay, guys, this is the finished product. My corned beef with all my veggies and good stuff on it. And excuse the missing chunk right here. It's been very hard to keep my husband out of the corned beef while I've been cooking it, but it's done. He's ready to eat. So what I did was I I probably cooked it for half an hour, covered with the vegetables, and then I did 15 minutes on 350 uncovered, and then I did 15 minutes before that on 350 covered because the cabbage wasn't done enough, so I did it. So basically, just kind of play it by ear, test it out, and see how well you like the vegetables to be done. If they're not done enough for you, then just let them cook. I will probably do like 10 minutes at a time. So, okay, so that's it. This is Roz. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe. See you next video.